So your scanner, you already said you're calling your scanner input, so you can use the input with the methods, right? You know, I said the scanner is a class. It's just like this class that we've created here. Now let's go back to LRG. Okay, not here. It's just like the easy car we created here, right? And inside it, we have main method. We can have other method, public, static, void, my new method, right? You get. So anywhere you want to use my new method, you need to do something like EasyCal, because EasyCal is the name of our class. EasyCal, then give it a name. Say probability input equals new. What's going on? Can you guys hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So let's say I want to use this class somewhere else, and probably not even in this class, somewhere else in my code. I could just say is a class, because is a class calc is the name of my class. I call it any name I want to call it. Here I'm calling it input. Then I say new easy cal, right? It's not collecting anything because I don't even have a constructor. So that then I can later in the future I can now say input dot my new method. You get? I hope you're getting this. So that's the same thing we are doing with Scanner. Scanner is a class. Scanner is a class that was created somewhere. Some like Scanner has been created in Java, like the Java SDK you were installing the first week. These are the things that were inside that SDK you were installing. There are a bunch of them inside it, but this is one of them. They will even explain how to use it to just over on it, and they'll give you an explanation of how to use it. Scanner SC equals new scanner system in. Then if you want to collect an integer and a bunch of blah 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 like that. So I'm just telling you how we came about this scanner. They created a class called scanner, the same way we've created our own EasyCal. And for us to use it, we could just say EasyCal input equals new EasyCal, then input dot my method. So in their own scanner definition, there is a method called next. I hope you're getting the same way we created my new method here. They also have next in their own scanner class. That's why we can have access to next here. So next means just give me like I want to type anything. I want to type anything, any character, anything. So that's what next does. So play that. It's telling me entire name. That was because I said print entire name first. Then because it's just print, it's not taking me to the next line. Then the next thing I'm saying, impute dot next, which means just giving an ability to type anything. That's it. Right? But what happens here is everything I typed here is being saved inside name. Right? So if I now come back and say S out, then name. And I say the same nonsense, then I get this. To make it more interesting, I can say something like your name is plus. I'm using print, so your name is plus. If you want to use print F, like we just discussed a couple of minutes ago, so that will be print F. Your name is %s, comma name, right? So both of them is going to give us the same thing. Your name is, you get. So that's depending on the one that is easier for you. If the printf is easier for you, you use it. If the print line is easier for you, you use it. But another thing that is depending on is what the question says you should do. If you remember the first question, this one is telling you to use print ln. So don't forget that also. But if that is not specified, then you have an option of using anyone that you think is much more easier for you. So everything works fine as long as you know how to use it. So that's that. So we're asking the user for their name. All right, we're asking the user for their name and we are printing out the name. So let me just take that again. I say Anthony, then it says your name is Anthony, right? So now, what is the question telling us to do? The question says create an execute, create a main method. We've done that, execute, and we have a main method. Create a scanner called input that reads value from the standard input. We've done that, created a scanner. Please, I'll get to you in a minute. Just let me finish what I'm doing here. Create a scanner called input that reads value from the standard input. That is what we just did here. System.input created a scanner class and we said it's reading from system.in. You get declare the variable xyz and result to be of type double. So take this off. Let me to this again. So he said we should declare the variable. Now, I was saying something earlier. I don't think I finished it. When you're creating a variable, there are a bunch of things, variables. We talked of data types and stuff and how to write a variable. You have your the variable definition, right? You have your data type, variable name, then equals value. Now, this is one way to write a variable. This is another way. Now, here you have both the declaration and the initialization in one statement. Declaration means data type, variable name. Initialization means variable name equals a value. You are initializing variable name. So in context, what I mean is this. Double, let's just say string name equals Anthony, right? Now, this is declaration. This is initialization. So these statements that I wrote here, I could split it into to say, okay, this is string with capital S. You can say string name. If you don't know the value yet, you can just say string name. This is called declaration. And later when you get the value, you can say name equals and to me. This is called initialization. So what they are telling you here is to declare the variable. So all they are telling you to do is just to declare declaration. The variable XYZ with the result to be of type double. So all they are asking you to do is to say double X, Y, Z. That's it, because we don't know the values for each of these things yet. The same thing I wrote here is the same thing as saying double X, double Y, double Z. But since they are all the same data type, they are all double. I could just use one double and declare everything at once. I hope this does make sense. So display a message in the console to inform the user to enter the first number. So display a message S out. To do what? Enter the first number. So enter the first number, right? So enter the first number, we're good. Using the scanner input, prompt the user to enter the first integer and assign the value in that variable to X. So what are they telling us to do? Using our input earlier, we have to use the input to assign value to the X. You know, like I said earlier, all we did was declare it. We did not initialize it. We didn't assign any value to it. But now we have to assign a value to it, and we'll call the value is going to be an integer using the scanner input from the user to enter the first integer and assign that value in the variable x. So we say the first integer. I probably collect this later, but that is what the question is saying. Enter the first integer and assign the value to variable x. So we say x equals input dot next, because we're expecting an integer, then we say next int. I hope this does make sense. There is next. What we saw earlier was next. I think somewhere, yeah. There are a bunch, like for every data type we treated here, you can have next. Next just gives you string directly, like it's going to be a string directly. But if you want an integer, you need to use next string, next int. If you want double, you use next double. If you want float, next float. If you want boolean, I don't think there's something like next boolean. Let's check that. Next. So, oh yeah, there's next boolean too, depending on what you want to use it for, right? So, well, in our own case, we need next int. So x equals next int, right? So around that again, it's telling us to enter the first integer. Well, let's make this fine a bit. We don't want the cursor in a new line. We want it on the same line. We want something here, just to make things interesting. And it's telling us something is going on that I don't like. What's going on? So what happened? Yeah. Okay, so enter the first integer. Say 12. And that's it. It's working fine. We're good with that. Using scanner input prompt the user to enter the first integer and assign the value in the variable to x. We've just done that. We collected an integer. We saved it inside x. To be sure you did it correctly, you can just print it s out. What is x? Right? So I say 12. So it's telling me 12.0 because my x is actually double. So it's going to convert that my 12 into a decimal number, which is 12.0. So we're good. We repeat the same process for x and y, for y and z. So we're just going to do the same thing for y and z. So we'll just copy these two lines, enter the second number, enter the odd integer, then we call this y, we call this z. We're going to have everything. Repeat the same process for y and z. Compute the product of the three double values contained in variable x, y, and z, and assign the results to variable result. So we are asked to create a variable called result and multiply all the values we got and save it into results. So all that is telling us to do is to say, since we know we are multiplying doubles, so we could say double, our result is going to be a double results equals x products, right? X times y times z. That's it. We have our result. Compute the product of the three double values containing x, y, z, and assign the result to value. The product assigned to result. Display the value of result 3 decimal points using the system out printf method to display the message result is followed by the value of the result. So here they are specifically saying we should use the printf. So we're going to do that. S out. We change this to f and we say result is and they said it should be in 3 decimal points. So that will be, because it's a float, dot 3f, then the variable name is result, right? S out, result is, give me 3 decimal place, 0.3, the result. Okay, I say 2, I say 4, I say 5. So 2 times 4 times 5, I guess, is 40. So to 3 decimal places, you have 40.0.0.0. So that's what we have here. And I think because this is accepting a double, I don't think input here we accept double. Yeah. So the question here is a bit wrong. First integer is not going to be an integer, it's just a number because they are actually entering stuffs that are not integer in the example. So change this to just normal number. Number, and we're not collecting integer again because you can see when I entered something that is not an integer, it's throwing an error. So I need to change this to next double. Next double. So this tells me I'm expecting the double. So here I could 2.1, 2.1, no, 2.1. Second number, which is 4.5, 4.5. Third number, which is 6.5, 6.5. Then I get 61.425. So that's it. So that's all about Lab 1. You have your LO-RGU, which is just for printing. You have your LO-RGU1, which is for RGU2, which is for formatting and splitting things using line and tabs, and EasyCal for your scanner, collecting inputs and doing some arithmetic. Do we have any question? This is where I'm stopping today. So, is there any question? Do we have any question regarding everything we've talked about? You can just raise up your hand and we'll take it one by one. Just raise up your hand. Just indicate. Okay, you can just Adami, you can unmute and speak.
Okay. Hello, Anthony. Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so here's my problem. I actually understand the whole process, but my main problem is that in the sixth process of the task we were assigned to do, it says using the scanner input, prompt the user to enter the first integer. Now, but on our program, that is on our code that we have done, we have already declared XYZ as double. And then later on, we still assigned the input.next as a double. So my question here is that even I'm just trying to stick to the instruction. Do you think the instruction
like
has a problem?
A couple of minutes ago, this is an error. This is an error
by the task itself, but because you cannot have having assigned a double value in your declaration, and then you now later ask for an integer and then declare that as an input.
You can do that because there is an hierarchy in data types, right?
Okay.
Double is more precise than that was what we did earlier. We did
yes
double and we said what we're actually collecting is next int. It worked fine. It's going to work fine, right? It works without an error. But the thing is, the reason why I actually changed it was because I discovered they are actually also entering a decimal number, not an integer. That was why
an integer.
And I said this is an error.
Okay.
It's a double, not an integer. So I guess what you wanted to type here is to enter the first number, not
an integer, to be precise, right?
Exactly, because you can see what they are typing here is float, is a decimal.
It's float, it's a decimal, exactly. Okay.
So that makes this, had it been this is not there, I would have left this as next int, just following the instruction. But according to this example, if you leave this as int, then it's going to throw an error. If you try to 2.1, you're going to throw an error.
Okay. And then looking at it from another point, I don't know. Well, I don't know if I'm going to get a bit more technical, but what about bringing typecasting into this scenario? If it was actually instructed like the way before, like, okay, you have already declared a variable x, y, z as a double, and then these values you now later want to convert them as integers, for example. So I don't know, do you think it's possible to use that method, typecasting, and convert the double values when you're going to use the x is equals to input dot next, instead of having an integer there? Okay, instead of having a double value there, you want an integer, irrespective of having declared x, y, z as double. Do you understand? Do you understand what I'm saying?
You want to have an integer here, right?
Yes, even though I have already declared my variables x, y, z as double when I was declaring those values.
Yeah, this works fine. You can see it. This is double XYZ, and this is X collecting an integer.
Yes, exactly. Okay, yeah.
It's going to work fine because double is much more precise than integer. So it could easily, see, it works fine. You could easily save an integer inside a double.
Inside a double.
What happened is, at the end of the day, what you will see is actually 12.0, not 12. It will have been converted to a double.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, then. That's okay. Yeah.